to pay them more for their commissions. So this one changed with the sale dollars, right? How about the base salary for that person? The base salary tend to remain the same, right? So the sales salary remain the same no matter what the sale dollar is, okay? And if you are the trucking company, like driving the truck and send the goods to some other province, you may set the business activity as the mile driven, okay? If you drive more, the gasoline will increase, right? So that one changed with the mile driven. But similarly to the salesperson, right, the truck driver, you tend to give him or her like the constant salary. That one remain the same, okay? As you can see, after you set up the business activities, you can analyze the cost with the change in that activities. And as you can see, after you set up the level of business activities, you may analyze what happened after that, right? We can call the level of business activity as the activity index or volume index. We can call it like that, okay? And the activity index indicated the activity that caused the change in the behavior of cost. And after you identify the activities, you can classify the cost into 3 types, okay? We can call it as the variable, the fixed, and the mix. Okay, we will look at each in detail later on. Okay, see after that, we need to classify the cost behavior into variable, fixed, and then mix. Okay, like the combination between variable and fixed. Let's talk about the variable cost. As you can see from the name, right, it's variable. So it means that these costs tend to vary in total, directly and proportionally with the change in activity level. So the keyword is here. It tends to vary in total, and the way that it varies tends to be directly and proportionally with the change in activities. For example, if your activity level increased by 10%, this total variable cost will increase by 10% as well. Okay, it's directly and proportionately changed. Okay, and on the other hand, if the activity level decreased by 25%, the total variable cost also decreased by 25% as well. Okay, so this is in total. Think about if you build bicycle. Okay, if you want to make the bicycle, let's think about the wheel. Okay, if you make only one bicycle, we need only 2 wheels, right? But if you make 100 bicycles, we need 200 wheels. So this one we can call cost of the wheel as the variable cost. Okay, so tend to be vary in total. How about per unit? When we talk about per unit, the variable cost per unit remain the same. Okay, it's not changed at all. See, as I mentioned about the bicycle, right? Each wheel may cost you 100 baht. So if you make one bicycle, the cost of wheel per bicycle equal to 200 baht. Okay, each bicycle, the cost of wheel remain the same at 200 baht per bicycle. So this is the behavior of the variable cost. Let's look at some small example here. The book just gives the example about the tablet computer. See, each computer have camera, right? And each camera costs $10. And as you can see, if you look at the graph here, we have the cost on the Y, right? And we have the number of the computer that you produce on the X-axis, right? And as you can see, the graph starting from 0. It means that if you don't produce at all, the total variable cost equal to 0. If you produce more, the total cost of the camera increase as a straight line. Okay, let's see. If you produce 2,000 computers, how about the total cost? You just multiply 2,000 with 10, right? The total cost of the camera here equal to 20,000. And if you produce more, 10,000 computers, the total cost of your camera will be 100,000. Okay, so this is the behavior of the variable cost. If you look at the total cost, it tends to increase as a straight line. Okay, and how about the variable cost per unit? If we change, okay, let's look at the cost, variable cost per computer. Similarly to the previous graph, on your Y here is the number of the tablet that you produce, and on your X, right? X is the number of the tablet produced, and on the Y here is the cost per unit. As you can see, the cost per unit remain the same at 10 per tablet that you produce. Okay, so this one is the behavior of variable cost. Okay, and yeah, this is the summary. If we look at the total, starting from 0 and then the line tend to go up, the slope equal to 10 baht per camera. And for the variable cost per unit, the cost remain the same at 10 per unit that you produce. Okay. And the next one is your fixed cost. Okay, this one is totally opposite from the first one that we studied. So for the fixed cost, when we talk about the total fixed cost, the total cost tend to remain the same. Okay, remain the same in total regardless of the change in the activity level. So this one means if you don't produce, you still have to pay this cost. Okay, if you produce more, the total cost still remain the same. Think about the depreciation expense. You study that with Ajahn Pinsiri, right? When you compute the depreciation expense for the machine or for the building, if you use straight line, the depreciation expense tend to remain the same, right? If you don't produce at all, you still have that depreciation expense as your expense, right? So we consider that as the fixed cost, okay? So in total, the fixed cost remain the same. And how about per unit? The per unit cost tend to vary inversely with activities, okay? It means that if you produce more, the fixed cost per unit will decrease, right? So this is the example of that. Depreciation expense for the building. Let's assume that each month the depreciation expense for your factory equal to 100 baht. Okay, make it easy. If you produce only 2 units, the fixed cost per unit equal to 50 baht. Okay, but if you produce 100 units, the fixed cost per unit reduced to 1 baht. Okay, so this is the behavior of the fixed cost. So in practice, we tend to see like the example of the fixed cost can be the property tax, insurance expense, or rent or depreciation expense that we mentioned earlier. Okay. Let's see the same company, okay, from the book. The book says this company leases the facilities at the cost of $10,000 per month. So the total fixed cost remains the same. See? Starting at 10,000. If you produce nothing, you still need to pay for the rent, right? If you produce 2,000, you still pay the rent of 10,000. If you produce 10,000, you still pay the rent at 10,000 per month. Okay, so in total, the fixed cost in total remain constant. On the contrary, if we look at the fixed cost per unit, as you can see here, the graph tend to be like slope, it's like inverse slope, right? Let's see, if you produce 2,000 tablets per month, the fixed cost per unit equal to 5, right? If you produce more, let's say, if you produce 10,000, the fixed cost per unit here reduced to $1 per unit, okay? As you can see, the more you produce, right, the less fixed cost per unit will be, okay? So this is our summary again, okay? Total fixed cost remain constant, but fixed cost per unit tend to reduce as you produce more. Okay. Before we move on, let's look at some small review questions here. The variable costs are the costs that, which one is correct? Yeah, below, right? If both A and B, they are correct. Okay. It may be too easy for you, right? Just want you guys to recall what we learned. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. As you can see, when we mention or when we talk about the total variable cost and total fixed cost, as you can see the relationship between the activities. Here, the activity is the unit that we produce, right? And the cost is on your y side. As you can see, the line here, it looks so straight, right? See, a straight line is drawn throughout the entire range of activity instead of total variable cost and fixed cost. It means that we assume that this relationship is linear. Okay, it means that if we produce more, the total variable cost tend to increase in the linear relationship. Okay, but in reality, is the straight line relationship real? Is it real? In reality, it's not. Okay, but for us to make it easy, we assume that the relationship is linear. Okay, let's see why it's not realistic. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this graph. Okay, this illustration number 3 tell you about the real total variable cost. In practice, if you plot the graph for total variable cost, it looks like S shape like this. We call it as the curve is linear, right? As you can see, the graph starts with the higher slope, and then the slope becomes lower, and then the slope becomes higher again at the end. Okay, let's see. At the first part around this area, let's assume that your variable cost here is your direct material. Okay, we know that direct material is one of the example of variable cost. Okay, think about if you produce so little, when you buy your raw mat or when you buy your direct material from your supplier, you may buy at 5 baht per piece, okay, per unit. But how about if you produce more? It means you need to buy more material, right? If you purchase more, you may get the discount, right? If you purchase more, you tend to get the lower price, you get the discount. Let's say from 5 baht per unit, maybe become 4.5 baht per unit, okay? So the slope change from very high here to a bit lower in the middle part, okay? You see my point, right? First, you pay so high, and then you got the discount from the quantities that you purchase a lot. But how about at the end? Let me draw like this. How about this part? Why the slope becomes higher again? Can you guess why? We produce more, we should get more discount, right? But why the slope become higher? Can you guess what happened? Think about if you let your worker produce all the time, what happened to them?
Stress.
They may get tired, they may get stressed. So instead of working in the proper way, maybe they fall asleep. So the goods that you produce become defect. Okay, when it's defect, maybe you need to rework again. That's why the cost become higher at the end. Okay, as you can see at the first starting point, the slope is high, and then it's become lower, and at the end it can become higher again. Okay, so there is a reason behind that. Okay, so in practice, the behavior of the variable cost tend to be like S-shaped, not straight line. Okay, so this is variable cost, and similarly for the fixed cost. Okay, think about the fixed cost. Will the total fixed cost remain constant all the time? It cannot be, right? Think about let's see, the rent. Okay, we talked about the rent expense earlier. If you produce at some quantity, you may need only this area to produce, right? But if you want to produce more, maybe the area for your factory is too small. Maybe you need to rent another room or another factory. So the rent expense tend to increase like this, okay? Or another example can be the supervisor salary, okay? Let's see, if I write down this one is supervisor, the salary that you pay to the supervisor. Then assume that one supervisor can take care of 10 workers, okay? If you have only 10 workers working in your production line, you may need only one supervisor, right? But when you increase your production, you hire more workers. Let's say your worker increased to 19, so you need 2 supervisors now, right? So the salary of the supervisor tend to be like this. And if you increase again, maybe you increase your production and then you hire about 35 workers, so you need 3 supervisors for that. So the total fixed cost tend to be step by step, okay? So this is in practice, in reality, the behavior of fixed cost more like step. It's not straight line throughout all the time, okay? But to make it easy for us, think about in reality, think about the company, right? When they operate, they tend to operate not too little and not too much, right? Let me set the X here as the activity level, as the production activities, okay? Maybe the company not produce that little, the company tend to produce something between the middle part, see? Let's say the company may produce for 40% of the capacity up to 80% of its capacity. As you can see in the middle part here, the relationship tend to be straight line, right? Similarly, for the total fixed cost, if the company operate at 40% of its capacity to 80% of its capacity, the relationship here is also straight line, okay? So for our analysis, just make it easy, okay? We assume that the behavior of the cost response to the change in activity is the straight line, okay? It's linear, so make us easy to analyze, okay? If it's not linear, we need exponential to analyze that, which I cannot do it, okay? So just make it easy because in practice, right, the company tend to operate between 40 or 80% of capacity, so the relationship tend to be linear within this area. So we call the purple area as the relevant range, okay? So it's the range of activity that we are interested right now, okay? Between 40 to 80% of its capacity. So this is why we need to talk about the relevant range, okay? So you guys still with me, right? Okay, ใช่ไหมอ่ะ So this is the relevant range, okay? And after we finish the variable and the fixed, now let's move on to the mixed one, okay? The mixed one, this type of cost behavior share the characteristic of both variable and fixed, okay? As you can see from the graph, the total cost line is not starting from 0, but it starts from some point, not 0, okay? And after that, the total cost line increase constantly, okay? The example of the mixed cost is the landline. Think about your phone at home. I'm not sure whether you still have the phone at home or not. It's too old example, but it's easy to understand, okay? Let me give you like the example, like the landline, okay? The phone that you use at home. if you guys still stay at your with mom and dad, maybe you still have like landline at home, right? Like me, my mom and my dad, they love to call by using the home phone, not the cell phone. But if you stay by yourself, like or in a condo, you don't have landline for sure, right? And let's talk about landline a bit. Let's see. The level of activities is the number of calls. Okay. So this is the activities. The number of calls. And let's see, we have the total cost. Let's say, if you have the phone at home, but you don't make any call at all, do you still need to pay? We still need to pay, right? So for how much? Yeah, actually it's 107, right? We have to pay VAT too, but just ignore VAT for now, make it easy. So let's say the total cost, if you don't make any call at all, you need to pay 100 each month, okay? So total cost equal to 100. And how about the cost per call? We cannot compute, right? Let's say, how about if we make one call during that month? The total cost that you have to pay equal to 103, right? Just ignore that. Again, we don't need value added tax here. So the cost per call gonna be 103. Okay, very expensive, right? Only one call and it costs you 103 baht. And how about you make two calls? It's gonna be 106, right? And cost per call will reduce to 53 baht. Yeah, 53 baht. And as you can see, okay, this one is the example of mid cost. As you can see, if you look at the total cost tend to increase when the level of activity increase. Okay, so this one is the characteristic of variable cost. Okay, see, we look at the total. As the level of activity increase, the total cost tend to increase. So this is the characteristic of variable. How about the cost per call? If you make more call, the cost per call tend to reduce. So this one is the characteristic of the fixed cost. Okay, as you can see, the mid cost tend to share the characteristic of both variable and fixed cost. Okay, that's why we call it as the mid cost. Okay. See, if you don't make any call, you still have to pay. But if you make more call, the cost per call tend to reduce. Okay, so this is an example of the mixed cost. So everyone still okay, right? To make sure that you are with me, let's look at small exercise. Okay. So this one is the company reports the following total cost at two levels of production. Produced at 10,000 units and 20,000 units. And there are so many costs here. So it asks you to classify each cost as variable, fixed, or mixed. Or maybe we can start with the variable together, okay? So for the variable cost, which type of cost is considered as the variable? Direct material, right? This one is variable for sure. As you can see, if we produce more, the total cost of direct material tend to increase, right? And how about the per unit one? The per unit remain constant at 2, right? So this one is variable cost for sure. And what else is the variable cost? Yeah, direct labor. When you produce more, the total direct cost increase. And how about the direct labor cost per unit? Remain constant at what? At 1.7, right? And do we have anything else considered as variable? Yeah, indirect material. Okay. See, as you can see, when we produce more, right, the total indirect material cost increase, and indirect material cost per unit remain constant at 0.1. Maybe we can work on this together, right? How about fixed cost? Yeah, depreciation and rent, right? As you can see, you increase the production level, but depreciation expense and the rent expense remain constant, remain the same. Okay, and the rest they are mixed. Okay, why they are mixed? First, if we look at this guy, maintenance one, if you produce more, the maintenance cost, the total tend to be higher. So first, we may think this guy may be variable, but it's not variable cost because if you compute the maintenance cost per unit, you will get the different number, right? And let me show you. So this one, if you compute per unit, it's gonna be like 0.8, right? And that guy, no, 0.5. See, when you compute per unit, it's not constant. So this one is not variable for sure. Okay. Similarly for utilities, if you compute utility cost per unit, you will get the different number as well. Okay. One is 0.3 and another one is 0.25. So the per unit cost is not the same. So this guy, two of these are the mixed cost. Does anyone have questions? Maybe no, right? Before we move on, let's work on the supplement. Okay, the supplement problem. You have to wait a bit, and you will see the supplement for the lecture number 2. Okay. So this company is the manufacturing company, okay, and it produces only one product. And this is the annual production cost at the production level up to 1,000 units, okay. And the company say the indirect labor cost is considered as the variable cost. The utilities and maintenance are the mixed cost. And the fixed portion of maintenance, utility and maintenance are 300 and 200 respectively. Okay. So the question asks you to compute the cost at 4,000 units of production. Okay. But before we start computing, maybe let's look at the cost behavior first, okay? Can you help me identify each cost, whether it is variable, fixed, or mixed, okay? Can you help me with that? How about direct material? Yeah, this one is variable and it's easy, right? 8,000. Or maybe I should give you guys some time a bit. No? So maybe I give you guys like 5 minutes, okay, to work on this problem, and then I will walk around, okay? And if you have questions, just ask me.
Oh, so you just use Google? That was it. I was very impressed. You found that so quickly. Must be the only one in the world. Call that the only one, right? Call that name.
There are several names, the same name, very rare. But I found one cruise, and then put them inside and then searched them all SNS. This is digital.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's
I
scary.
I searched in Facebook as well, and I found she used to be orchestra. I put orchestra name, and then found her university, and then and then she also studied marketing. She was in marketing group during the university. She was at such a
Why is she a diplomat then?
And then I found that she also participated in the diplomatic competition in Busan University.
That's why.
And then I found her name there. So, which means that I can find you online.
Probably.
I found you in the before.
In what?
In the thesis. In the thesis, your university in Australia.
Yeah.
I found your name there and then
Really?
the picture.
No picture.
Unfortunately, no picture.
That's good.
Only your names.
That's how we should keep it.
Keep thinking of booking. It's very poisonous.
Extremely.
Extremely poisonous. Actually, my brother was so excited. My brother was so excited. Yes.
What happened?
So,
You have a brother?
I have a brother, so he was so excited yesterday. Jesus Christ. You have brother, right? How many brothers do you have?
In the video.
Everyone skip this part, it's fine. Shut up, Grit. Shut up, Grit. No one wants to hear you. Be quiet for a change. No one likes you, Grit.
Okay. Sorry. You know this song? Sorry.
You sing it.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Your brother, honestly, Jay. Oh.
just toss me this file and let me edit.
Too funny, man. Huh? Did we finish now?
Finish now.
Yeah, copy.
Not sure I did right.
It's probably right. Or you It's on fix.
Yes.
Cool, see. Oops.
So you
Huh?
Did you bring your
Maybe.
This can be used on this one as well.
Should be. Try. This is what you wasted your tax money on this week.
Fallow. See you. Oh, you have middle name?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Very rare middle name. I think I'm the only person in the world that has this name.
Emerson.
No one else in the world will have this name, for sure. It's not expensive.
3,000 เนี่ยนะ
Yeah, it's okay now. You rewind, huh? Oh. Yeah, I think so, but I didn't bring the book today, which was a mistake. Yeah.
The book is too big, right?
No, I just forgot. I can't blame the size. It's out of stock well. In America, they got new colors for the pen. Blue. This is the best part of the pen now. Anyway. Oh, Solano. Yeah. Apple Pen does not have this function. It is so useful. But when you buy the pen, my recommendation is that you change the nib. I don't like the nib that it comes with. It's like, so this is very smooth, right? The other nib has got like texture. It's like semi-rubber, semi-cotton or something.
So it's like absorbing.
Yeah, it's absorb that kind of thing. I think it makes it more difficult to write.
But you have to buy it. Then
I can give you my spare one.
no, but I mean, it's like when you get it, you buy it. Like you can choose the kind.
No. When you buy it, you get the default, and then you can choose to buy extra ones. I've never seen the extra one be sold before because I bought it again. I really much prefer it to this. It's nice now. But again, I don't really. I use it as the professor because I use this to give the PowerPoint presentation, so I like to draw on the slides and that kind of thing. But I don't really use it in other times, to be honest.
But when I reading, I still like to read via the paper.
Yeah, I remember the same as well. Presentation.
Yes.
Hey, how was presentation last week? Okay, man.
Okay, now.
Video okay, man?
What is the point that you have to show up on the video?
Asano-san said that she got very happy. Hey, I owe you some money. 1,300 something yen, right?
Actually, overall, it seems like you guys can come up with the right answer. Okay? As you can see here, how about let me ask you a bit about the cost behavior of each cost, okay? See the first one, direct material, we know that is variable cost for sure because the direct material tend to be vary with the unit and with the unit that you produce, right? And how about direct labor? This one is also variable cost, okay? As we study from last 2 weeks, right? When we talk about the when we talk about the direct labor cost, these costs tend to be vary directly with the units that you produce, okay? If you produce more, you need to pay higher direct labor costs, okay? And utilities, this one is the mixed cost. Let me write it down here. This one is given, okay? The utility is the mixed. How about the rent? Typically, it tends to be the fixed cost, okay? And how about indirect labor? Actually, indirect labor can be both, but this one make it easy, let it be the variable cost, okay? And how about the supervisory salary? This one is also fixed cost as well, okay? And the maintenance, this one is mixed cost is given, and the depreciation expense is fixed cost for sure, okay? For the fixed cost, It's easy because it remains constant. So this guy remains constant, okay? And how about direct labor? If you produce 4,000 units, how about the total cost of direct labor?
32.
It's gonna be 32,000, right? So the way that we compute this one, actually it's easy. We know that we produce double, we can just multiply 2 with 16,000, right? But if you want to compute it more in more correct way, you better find the variable cost per unit, okay? As you can see, the direct labor, if you produce 2,000 units, the total direct labor cost equal to 16,000. So the variable cost per unit equal to 8, right? So you better do this way, okay? 8 and then multiply by 4,000. You will get 32,000 as your answer as well, okay? Similarly for direct material, right? Let's go back a bit. For direct material, the variable cost per unit for direct material equal to 2. So 2 multiplied by 4,000, so you get 8,000 here, okay? And for indirect labor, the indirect labor cost per unit equal to 2.1 per unit, okay? And if you produce 4,000, so you just multiply 4,000 with 2.1, so you get 8,400 for indirect labor. Yeah, and how about these two guys? This one you need to think a bit more, okay? See, for the utilities, we know that these two costs, they are mixed costs, okay? And for the mixed cost, we know that the total cost for the mixed cost consists of two parts, okay? We have total fixed cost plus total variable cost, okay? See, the mixed cost consists of two parts always. Part of the cost is fixed, and another part is the variable portion, okay? First, let's talk about utilities. We know that the utility cost, the total cost equal to 1,000, right? And the question gives you information that the fixed portion of utilities equal to 300. Okay, this one is given. Let me go back to the question a bit. See, the fixed portion of these costs are 300 is given. So we know that for the utilities, 1,000 here consists of 300 as the fixed portion. And how about
I told you.
the variable portion? See, for the variable portion, let me use question mark stand for the variable portion. Variable portion per unit, okay? See, this one is unknown, right? But we know that the total variable cost, we can compute that by multiply the variable portion per unit with the number of units that you produce, okay? We know that the utility cost of 1,000, this one incurred when we produce 2,000 units, okay? And we can solve for the unknown variable, right? So the unknown variable is 0.35 per unit, okay? See, we need to separate the total cost of utility into fixed portion and variable portion. The fixed portion is given, and then we can find the variable portion here, okay? The variable portion here equal to 700, right? So we just divide 700 by 2000. So we get 0.35 per unit, okay? And how about if you produce at 4,000 units? Utilities will be equal to 300 plus 0.35 multiplied by the number of units that you produce, right? So you get 1,700 as your answer, okay? So this is the utilities. So that's how we come up with the answer, okay? We separate the fixed portion and the variable portion, and then we try to find the variable portion per unit, and then we can compute at any level of activities, okay? And how about the maintenance cost? We do the same thing, right? See, let me compute a bit, okay? From information given here, we know that the total maintenance cost equal to 900, okay? And the fixed portion so the fixed portion, right, 200. And how about the variable one? We do the same thing, right? And the variable portion per unit equal to 0.35 per unit. This one is by accident, okay? It just happened to be the same, okay? And at 4,000 units, your maintenance cost will be equal to $1,600. Okay. So this is how we compute the mixed cost at any level of activities. Okay, we need to separate fixed and variable, and then we can compute. So you guys get the same answer, right? Actually, I walk around, it seems like many of you get the right answer. Okay, so it seems like this one is still easy, right? Still okay, right?
It's getting harder.
Let's see. Let's move on then. Let me get back to our PowerPoint. See, from like the exercise earlier that we did, okay? We have mixed cost, and the question give you the fixed portion of mixed cost. But how about in practice? If we need to classify, if we need to separate fixed portion from the variable portion, okay, so sorry, let me repeat that again. In practice, okay, if you have the mixed cost, you know that you need to separate the fixed portion from the variable portion. But how can we do that? Okay, from the exercise it's given, but in practice we can compute by ourselves, okay? If you have the mixed cost and you want to separate the fixed and variable portions, we can use the high-low method, okay? The high-low method is used to separate fixed and variable elements. The high-low method tend to use the total cost incurred at both high and low level of activities, okay? When we hear the word high and low, it means we focus on the highest and the lowest level of activities, okay? Think about if you have mixed cost, how can you separate fixed portion from the variable portion? We tend to focus only on the highest activities and the lowest activities. And we try to find the difference in cost and difference in activities. And we know that that difference comes from the variable portions, okay? Let's see. First, the high-low method. If we want to use high-low method, we need to follow two steps, okay? The first step, we need to determine the variable cost per unit by using the following formula. We need to find the change in total cost, and then we need to find the change in activity level. And we just divided the change in total cost with the change in activities, and we can come up with the variable cost per unit, okay? Let's look at the example to make you understand more, okay? Let's see. Here is the example of the maintenance cost and the mileage driven for the bus over 6 months period, okay? Let's see information given first. If you look at the mile driven, as you can see, if you drive more, the total cost tend to increase, okay? You may think this one may be the variable cost, but after you find the cost per unit, you will see that the cost per unit is not constant. So this type of cost is the mixed cost for sure, okay? You see my point, right? Let's look at information given here. See, if you drive 20,000, the total cost is 30,000. In February, you drive more. The total cost increase more, okay? So you may think this cost is variable. But to make sure whether it's variable or not, you need to find the variable cost, the cost per unit, okay? Let's see, if you find the cost per unit, let's see. If you find per unit 1, okay? How about in January? The cost per unit is 1.5, right? 1.5 per mile driven, okay? How about in February? It's 1.2, okay? As you can see here, if you find the cost per unit, you know that this maintenance cost is not variable, it's the mixed cost, okay? So this confirms that the maintenance one, this one is the mixed cost for sure, okay? And after we know that this type of cost is the mixed cost, we need to separate, okay? Separate how much is variable and how much is fixed, okay? How can we separate that? We tend to use the high-low method. The high and the low, we need to look at the activity level, okay? The highest one is April, right? So in April, you drive the most. So this one is the highest level that you're interested in right now, okay? And how about the lowest activity level? Is in January, okay? You drive so little. As you can see here, we just focus only on the highest and the lowest activities. And as you can see, we know that the change, the total cost, the difference in cost must come from the variable portion. Okay, so the change in cost, just 63,000 minus 30,000. So the difference in cost equal to 33,000. And how about the difference in activity level? 30,000. Okay. So after you compute this, you can find the variable cost per unit. Okay. This one is 1.1 per unit. So this one is 1.1 per mile driven, right? So this is the first thing, okay? We pick the highest and the lowest, and then we can find the variable cost per unit. And then after we find the variable cost per unit, we can compute the fixed portion later on, okay? Let's see. After we compute this, the second step, we can determine the fixed cost by subtracting the total variable cost from the total cost, okay? And you can use either the highest or the lowest information to compute this one, okay? Let's look at the highest first, okay? Let's say at the highest level of activities, the total cost equal to 63,000, right? 63,000, and we know that within 63,000, the variable portion equal to 1.1 and then multiply by 50,000 miles driven, right? So this is the variable portion. As a result, we can find the fixed portion equal to 8,000. So this is at the highest level. How about at the lowest? You will get the same answer. Let's see, at the lowest level, the total cost equal to 30,000. How about the variable portion? You just multiply 1.1 with 20,000 miles driven, right? So you subtract 22,000 from 30,000, you get 8,000 as well. Okay, so this is how we separate the mixed cost into fixed and variable portion. Okay, let's see. After we can separate the variable and the fixed portion, we can compute at any level of activities, right? But when you compute the cost at any level of activity, please make sure that the activities that you set up must be between the highest and the lowest level, okay? It's like you have a maximum and minimum. So the mile driven that you can compute must be between 20,000 and 50,000, okay? Let's see. Let's see, if you want to know, if you drive for 45,000 miles, how about the maintenance cost? It's easy, right? So the fixed portion always 8,000, and how about the variable portion? You just multiply 1.1 with 45,000, and then you will get the total equal to 57,500 for the maintenance cost. So this is the high-low method, okay? And let's look at some small review questions. When we talk about the mixed cost, this one is easy, right? It's A, right? It consists of two parts, the fixed and the variable. And the small exercise here. So this company has information about some type of cost, okay? And it has information about the unit produced. So the activity level here is unit produced, okay? Let's see, if we see this kind of information, first we need to check whether is it variable or is it fixed or is it mixed, okay? As you can see, it cannot be fixed for sure, right? And how about variable cost? Yeah, if we produce more, the total cost tends to be higher, so it can be variable, right? But don't forget to compute per unit, right? After you compute per unit cost, you will know that this cost is fixed for sure, okay? So the information just asks you to compute the variable and the fixed cost element by using the high-low method, okay? Before we do that, before we start to compute, can you help me which information that we're going to use? Which one is the highest level? March, right? And how about the lowest? May. Yeah. So maybe I let you guys compute a bit, okay? Compute the variable and the fixed portion.
Send me that blank schedule. Failed, something happened.
You didn't lunch.
Something came out. I think they didn't see my wife for a week. Bless you. Oh, I already got to it.
Available for นี่เป็น total cost ไม่มีมันไม่เห็น
What's
อ่า
what's fixed cost?
Procedure. Fucking the bird.
So for this one, how about the variable portion? The variable cost per unit, you get 1.3 per unit, right? Yeah, so you just pick the highest and then you find the difference in cost and then the difference in units produced. So you just divide those numbers and then you're gonna get 1.3 per unit, okay? And how about the fixed portion? 2,000, right? Yeah. So for the fixed portion, you can use either the highest or the lowest level to compute the fixed portion, right? See, for this one, I use the highest portion first. No, not highest portion, highest level. As you can see, the total cost at the highest level equal to 14,740. We know that within this amount, you will have the variable portion of 12,740, okay? So this guy, the thing in parentheses, you just multiply that and then you get 12,740, okay? And you will get the fixed portion equal to 2,000. Or if you don't like the highest level, you may use the lowest one, okay? You will get the same answer as well. So at the lowest level, you produce 7,000 units. 7,000 multiplied by 1.3, so you get 91,000. Okay, and the difference is the fixed portion, so you get 2,000 as the answer. So you get your answer. The way I write this, I hope it's not make you confused, okay? The thing in the parentheses here is how I come up with 12,740. Similarly for this guy, the things here equal to 9,100, okay? So this is a high and low, okay? And the next question. Let's see, if your company produce 8,000 units, how much the cost will be? 12,400, right? So you just use information from part A and then you just multiply 1.3 with 8,000 units. So this is the fixed portion and this is the variable portion, okay? So you get 12,400 as your answer. So we're okay with this one. And if you want to practice more, we still have another question for you. Okay. So this is the second question that you can practice. Okay. You want to do together or you want to do at home by yourself? Together with adult? Yeah. So you want to do now or after the break?
After break.
After the break, okay. So let's see we can come back and work on this one, okay? Maybe after you come back, you can work on this and then we will talk about the answer after that, okay? Let's have a break, okay?นักวิชาการกับนักวิชาดีด้วยเนาะแล้วก็ฐานธนตานะหนูมาถามคนนึงจะพูดในเรื่องนี้นะคะฉันเอาไปให้เรียนทีของเสียงเหมือนมีเพื่อนที่มาอยู่ในสายเค้กเค้กดีตอนแรกเราไม่ทำแต่ว่าคือส่งงานนะ
ยังไม่กินจะไปไหนมีท่านอีกแล้วมีท่านอีกแล้วไม่มีทำตอนนี้
I'm learning Korean so if you this one Really? This have meaning? If you want, what if you want to make it like Wait, It's mixed? Isn't it one
เฮ้ยขีดเก็บคิดว่าไหนไม่ได้ก็วะจำไม่ได้ก็
ก่อนบ่ายแล้ววันที่10
10อะไร11
10วัน
11มีควิส11แต่มันอยู่อย่าโบ้ไปคุยกันได้
ต้นไป
ติดก่อน
ต้นไปครับต้นไปเป็นต้นไปต้องรอ
แต่อันนี้ก็เข้าใจ
ชื่ออันนี้ชื่อโอ้ชื่ออันนี้ต้องมีตัวชานับก็คือต่อแต่ว่าเวทแล้วก็ตรงนั้นออกมาเนี่ยใช่คือตอนแรกจะบอกว่าไม่ชอบใส่ไอ้ชาที่เป็นไก่ของที่ชาผู้ขายเพราะว่าก็ไข่อีในการที่โชว์เนี่ยตัวนี้เป็นก็ชาในเวทแต่ว่าอันนี้ไม่ได้ก็เลยต้องไปกินจีไม่กินจีแต่ว่าเป็นลมแล้วให้มันเยอะ
จะไม่จบแต่เดี๋ยวเราเรียนตัวอีกเรื่องว่ะไม่ได้ทำอะไรมันฟรีสถานทูตค่ะI live in the Korean restaurant business. So there's like the restaurant like for descendants of the restaurant. My grandpa actually went to the war. ข้างนอกอ๋ออันนี้เอาMy grandpa but some of them still living. I'll tell you when they have festival. There's a kind of festival that the embassy comes Korean food. But like the wife of the embassy, Korean made like made medal and made like the thing. My aunt is actually the face for Thank กินปูยังไง
กินนั่นกับอะไรวะ
อย่าโม้อย่าโม้ดึงไม่ออกอ่ะมึงไปกินอะไรกับมันมาฮะดึงไม่ออก
ฟองเร็ว
อาจจะมาแก้เพราะว่าอาจจะไม่ใช่แบบเทคโนโลยีหรือว่าอินโนเวชั่น
ที่เห็นมันโม้
คีย์เวิร์ดของอันเนี้ยที่ผมไปดูที่อื่นต่อมันก็จะมีความเป็นจริงของเพื่อรับซีซันแนลของ
นี่เขาไปดูเขาไปดูเขาไปดูอะไรด้วยนะเขาไปดูstrategic location ถูกไม่ได้ไลน์แล้วนะยัง
ก็ในตัวโปรแกรมให้มีคือผมงงก็คืออันเนี้ยคือที่เขาอินโนเวชั่นมันหมายมันบอกให้ดูเรียลในนี้มันคือเรียลไม่ข้อเนี้ยจบแล้วเราไปดูว่าโอเคโค้ดแอควิซิชั่นอันเนี้ยซึ่งเหมือนก็ต้องพูดถึงแบบมันดูซ้ำซ้อนไปภาษาใช่ไหม3 4บ้างไปที่นั่นชอบถามที่นั่นอีกไปไหนข้อไหนที่ไปนั่นนี่ก็ได้ข้อ3ใช่ข้อ3ผมรับเปิด5 1แล้วก็จาก BC แล้วต่อ ก็เนี่ยมันช่วงนี้เด็กมันแต่ง
อยาก
ว่า
กินปิ้งในห้องนะมันเคยมีแค่ว่าคนมากินแล้วมันมีข้าวถ้าจะกินอะไรไปกิน
เหมือนกับต้องการพูดว่าเพราะว่าความเป็นมาจิ้งของเขาเนี่ยมีลดลงมาอินดัสทรีเยอะฉะนั้นหมายถึงว่า have excess cash ที่จะมา manage action inventory ใช่ไหม
เพราะว่าอันนี้ตอนแรกมันถามว่าเราเรียนทำไงเพื่อเปลี่ยนแปลงให้เบเตอร์แล้วก็ข้อใหม่เพราะมาจิ้งเนี่ยเอฟเฟกต์ดิเซนยังไงก็คือข้อดิเซนเยอะกว่าก็คือสามารถเอามาแทนเบเตอร์ได้คือและได้เทคนิค
เรียนแต่ว่า อันนี้เพราะว่า gross profit margin มัน to extent ด้วยว่าถ้าสมมติว่าเราการเทียบกับของ
เปลี่ยนที่เขียนเอาประโยคเหมือนประโยคล่างเหมือนกันพูดถึงมาจินใช่ไหมเอาเป็นมาจินขึ้นก่อนก็เป็นแนวที่เราพูดถึงก็ได้ว่า comparing to other like คือมัน very above median in industry median แล้วมันก็ above คู่แข่งด้วยซึ่งถ้าเราจะพูดไปในแนวที่ว่าเราเนี่ย such cash flow ว่าของที่จะมา invest in the more agile supply chain ตอนนั้นนะคือก่อนเราดูว่าไปเอาที่ดีกว่าสลับย้อนอ่ะ
เราแค่จะไม่ชัวร์ว่าแบบมันไม่ใช่แบบ operation cost เราแบบสูงเกินเราว่าสูงคนอื่นเยอะมากในการบริหารการถ้าเพราะฉะนั้นตอนนี้คือของที่ไม่ไปก็สามารถซื้อมาว่าเวลาอยู่ก็มาซื้อมาส่วนไหนทำไมเรา
Consider as well.
ฮัลโหลแค่มันอีกนิดคือแบบแต่เรา You didn't do the questionnaire, right? Last question.
It's a thank you. That's the nicest thing.
Okay. But the passport.
ข้าวปอดอะผมสิ่งอยากกินเลยที่เลย
ไม่ได้วันนี้เรายังไม่ถูกเกี่ยวกับเสร็จแล้ววันที่วันนี้วันที่วันยังลงที่เดียวอยากคิดแต่ไม่ได้คิดประเด็นสอน
Okay, agree.
โอ้ย
แต่ไฟของสี่คือเรื่อง flexibility ในเก็บข้อมูลที่เราไม่ต้อง
really? Congratulations.
In the middle.
Yes.
I was gonna do 2 videos for this too. I think oh no. I was gonna try.
เอากาแฟไหมกาแฟไหม
right now
กินกาแฟ
he
กินกาแฟ
request from
จากบ้าน
Korea your mom go back or
จากบ้านแล้ววันอาทิตย์ที่แล้วตอนไทยโฆษณา
only your mom ครับ
zero coffee
no caffeine
caffeine
can I smell that
Okay, but I think the idea is very. One thing that I learned when I went to the basically what they said is the best thing you should do is find someone who's like, for example, Amazon. Amazon.
ดีใจจ้ะ ยินโซ่ดี
แก้แล้วเต้นก็สวย
So I think we it's worth it. Yeah. I know they talk a lot about it's a very wide
วันนี้ซื้อคอมพิวเตอร์ใหม่แล้วAsus ไทย loyalty Asus
you give up with the Apple right that means one
เช็คราคาแล้วก็ดี
no but actually the way one goes is quite different Apple as well
จะต้องการ iPad
iPad
ไม่
touch
MacBook Pro สำหรับ video editing เดี๋ยวเช็คราคาแล้วคนนึงเสียงแล้วอะไรอ๋อไปโทษทีผม这个วันนี้ซื้อ Asus gaming ราคาgaming ราคาก็เกิดกับ GTX แรงเกรดคาร์ด GTS 1050ไม่มันจะไม่ได้1050ก็พอเพราะว่าคอมพิวเตอร์ยิงใช้ได้ง่ายแล้ว AMD AMD แล้วอะไรอ่ะแล้ว SSD SSD 108แต่ทั้งหมด108กิโลตอนนี้คือราคาไม่ทำไมกินเลยเนี่ยแต่กินเข้าไป
ขยันนะ
ตัวนี้คนต้องเลยตอนนี้ก็ใช้ก่อนเดี๋ยวถ้าท่านว่าเป็นแอมไม่มากี่ครั้งไม่พอใจก็จะบวกไม่ไหว
มึงเคยอยากทำไหม
แต่ถ้าอย่างนี้ก็เป็นแบบ
เป็นมีแค่ของมีชื่อมีชื่อเลยครับมีชื่อพร้อมไม่ต้องซื้อของหรอกมีชื่อ
ร้านแค่มีชื่อก็คือดีใจก็โอเคอะ
มันก็ทำโรงแอปกันเยอะไม่เข้าใจเดี๋ยวของต้องดูหมด
แล็ปท็อปจะพูดเลย10%ของวิดีโอ
เอาทีมันได้
10%ของท็อปจี
กังวลอยู่แรงไม่ซื้อก็เลยอยู่ว่าจะซื้อเอาไอ้ที่มัน
ไม่คุ้มนะไม่ได้เกมไปเซเว่นโอ้ไปเซเว่น
มันสุดอุโมงค์แผ่นหาทีมแบบ
เดี๋ยวเป็นคนสิงเขาจะได้แค่4 คนด้วยคนต่างชาติคนต่างชาติจะได้1,000 บาทต้อง1,000จ่าย1,000จะได้
So actually this version is quite similar to the one that we